In a quiet corner of the Milky Way galaxy, storm was coming, one made not of wind or rain, but of steel, fire, and fear. The Zelthari Armada, one of the most feared forces in the galaxy, was on the move. Their silver warships floated through space like sharks in dark water. Each ship was smooth, elegant, and deadly. For centuries, they had conquered weaker planets and claimed new systems, one after another. Now, their eyes were on a small blue world that had not yet joined the galactic stage. Earth to the Zelthari. Earth seemed weak and unaware. Their scouting drones reported no powerful weapons, no warp-capable fleets, and no defense grid in deep space. Earth was still divided, still growing. To them, it looked like an easy target. Admiral Sharn Valker, the commander of the Zelthari fleet, stood on the bridge of the lead battlecruiser. Radiance of purpose. His eyes, like polished obsidian, scanned the holographic map of the soul system. Dozens of Zelthari ships were moving into position beyond the orbit of Pluto. It was a perfect staging ground. A quiet little system waiting to be taken. "This will be quick," said Shorn, his voice calm and... "Sure, prepare the invasion signal." His crew obeyed without question. They'd done this many times before. There was no reason to expect anything different now, but Earth was not as blind as the Zelthari thought, far beneath the surface of Earth's moon. Inside a hidden command center, a quiet alarm flashed red. Zelthari fleet confirmed, said. A technician, eyes wide. 216 ships, entering observation zone. Commander Mira Reyes, head of Earth's Deep Space Defense Division, folded her arms. She stood tall, wearing a black uniform with no visible rank, but an air of authority that silenced the room. "We expected this," she said simply. "Is Vanguard ready?" The technician gave a sharp nod. "Yes, ma'am." "Vanguard is in position, awaiting your command." "Good. Send the signal." Out beyond Neptune's orbit, something stirred. The Zelthari ships were beginning to align into their battle formations when a sensor alarm echoed across the radiance of purpose. A single object was approaching, fast and silent, unidentified. "Contact!" shouted one of Sharn's officers. "Heading directly for our central line." No response to hails. Sharn narrowed his eyes. "How large?" The officer blinked at the data. Double quotes. ... Very large, sir. Larger than any human ship we've recorded." "It's odd. No visible weapons, no standard engine readings. It's just ... moving." The room grew quiet. On the screen, the unknown ship came into view. It was massive, easily 3 times larger than the Zelthari command cruiser. Its shape was sleek and triangular, with no windows or flashing lights. Its surface was smooth and black, absorbing all nearby starlight. There were markings on the hull, strange angular symbols, clearly human, but unreadable to alien eyes. But what struck the Zelthari most was not the size or shape, it was the feeling. Something about the ship made them feel watched, judged. It did not threaten them with weapons or words. It didn't need to. Its silence spoke louder than any warning. One of the younger officers whispered, "Is it a relic? Some ancient machine?" "No," Sharn said slowly, stepping closer to the screen. "It's new, human, but ... different." They all watched as the ship came to a stop in front of the Armada. No communication, no demands, just presence. Then, without warning, every screen in the Zelthari fleet blinked once. For a single second, a message appeared, white text on a black background. Written in a galactic language every species could understand. "Leave now." And then, just as quickly, the message disappeared. Silence fell on the bridge. Sharn stared. At the screen, he felt something unfamiliar tighten in his chest. Not fear, not yet, but something close. This was supposed to be an easy conquest, he muttered. But now, everything had changed. The Zelthari had seen Earth's first warship, and for the first time in a very long while, they paused. The strange human warship floated silently in front of the Zelthari Armada, unmoving. The stars behind it seemed dimmer, as if even the light was afraid to touch its black surface. On the bridge of the radiance of purpose, Admiral Sharn Valker stood still, his sharp eyes fixed on the large screen. No one on the bridge spoke. No one dared to. The ship did not fire. It did not move. But its presence filled the space with quiet pressure like the pause before a storm. "Status of the fleet?" Sharn finally asked, his voice calm but tense. "Still." "Holding position, sir," one officer answered. "But many captains are asking for instructions. They want to know if we should retreat or attack." Sharn didn't answer right away. His mind was working quickly. He had led dozens of invasions. He had faced all types of enemies. But never before had a single ship made his entire fleet stop. "This must be a trick," he said. "Maybe the humans built this ship to look powerful, but it's just for show." Another officer turned from his console. "Admiral, if it's just for show, why is it still here? Is it not afraid of our fleet?" Sharn didn't reply. On Earth, deep beneath the surface, Commander Mira Reyes watched everything through a live feed. The Vanguard, Earth's first true warship, was performing exactly as planned. "Status?" she asked. "All systems green," replied her chief engineer. "No energy weapons armed. Defensive shields at full strength. Zelthari fleet has not moved in the last 10 minutes. Hold position," Mira ordered. "We don't fire unless they do."
Ow.
This is a message, not a battle. Across the moon's hidden base, quiet cheers echoed. For the first time in history, humanity had shown itself not as a weak observer, but as a force to be respected. Back near Neptune, the Zelthari ships remained frozen in space. Admiral Sharn finally gave an order. "Send a probe. I want a full scan of that ship. Let's find out what we're dealing with." A small silver drone detached from one of the Zelthari frigates and glided toward the Vanguard. It was fast, sleek, and quiet. As it approached the human ship, its sensors began to send back data. "Strange," said the officer reading the scan. "I can't get a full reading. It's ... blocked. Like the ship is wrapped in some kind of energy fog. Our scanners are bouncing." "Off. Impossible," Sharn muttered. "There's no known technology that can block our scanners completely." Suddenly the drone stopped moving. It didn't explode. It didn't crash. It just ... froze. No response from the probe. The officer reported, now clearly worried. "It's offline." Then every Zelthari screen blinked again just for 1 second. "Do not test our patience." The bridge of the Radiance of Purpose was dead silent. Admiral Sharn gripped the edge of the command table. His thoughts were moving. "Faster now. This can't be Earth's only ship," he said quietly. "If they built this, what else are they hiding?" His second in command, a calm and logical officer named Vale Corrin, stepped forward. "Admiral, we should consider a strategic withdrawal. If this ship is as advanced as it appears, then attacking it without understanding its power could bring heavy losses." Sharn looked at her, his pride burning, but deep down he knew she was right. This was supposed to be a silent takeover. Vale continued, "But we have already been warned twice. If we ignore it and attack, we may not survive." Sharn looked again at the human ship. It hadn't moved an inch. It didn't need to. He gave a small nod. "Send a fleet-wide signal. All ships hold position. No weapons to be armed unless directly fired upon." Vale sent the message quickly. Meanwhile, inside the Vanguard, the crew monitored the alien fleet carefully. "They're not advancing," reported the ship's AI voice. "No weapon systems detected online." Commander Reyes leaned back in her chair. "Good. Then the message is clear." Vanguard was built not just to fight, but to warn. Humanity had watched for years as other species rose and fell in distant corners of the galaxy. Earth had remained quiet, learning, listening. They never joined the wars, never asked for help, but they had built. In secret, in silence, they had. Built Vanguard their protector, their message to the stars. And now, the stars were listening, back on the Radiance of Purpose. Admiral Sharn stood alone in the viewing bay, watching the giant human ship float quietly in space. He had come to Earth expecting weakness. But instead, he found a force that needed no noise, no violence, just presence. He didn't know yet what other secrets Earth held. He didn't know how many more ships they had. But one thing was now certain. The humans were not what he thought. They were not prey. They were something else. And for the first time in many years, the Zelthari Armada waited frozen by a ship that had not fired a single shot. The black ship known as Vanguard still floated in front of the Zelthari Armada, silent and steady. Its shape was like a great shadow stretched across the stars. It didn't blink, didn't speak, but its message had already been heard. Back on Earth, deep inside the moon's hidden command base, Commander Myra Reyes watched the standoff unfold. Her team sat at their stations, calm, but focused. "They haven't moved," said one officer. "They're still just watching." "That's exactly what we want," Reyes replied. "Let them look. Let them wonder." The Vanguard was more than just a ship. It was the result of years of secret planning, silent progress, and forgotten sacrifices. Its story didn't begin today. It began a long time ago on Mars. Decades earlier, when humans first landed on Mars, they were not ready. Supplies were limited. Storms on the Red Planet destroyed habitats and equipment. People got sick. Some never came back. But failure didn't stop humanity. It pushed them forward. Nations that once competed started to work together. Engineers from different parts of the world came together to design stronger bases, smarter systems, and better ships. Robots helped build the first underground cities. Solar energy became stronger. AI became faster. Out of hardship, something new was born: the Soul Defense Accord, a united effort to protect Earth and its people, not just from each other, but from threats beyond the solar system. And at the center of that plan was a special project. It was a ship that could guard the entire system. A ship that could face anything. They called it Project Vanguard. Back in the present, the Zelthari Armada still floated near Neptune, unsure of their next move. On the command bridge of the Radiance of Purpose, Admiral Schernvalker stared at the dark shape in the distance. His officers whispered quietly, unsure if they should speak aloud. They had never seen such a ship before. It gave off no normal signals, broke all their rules of design. It wasn't just strong, it was unknown. An officer looked up from his console. "Admiral, permission to speak freely?" Sharn nodded once. "I've reviewed the scans. This ship doesn't match any class we've studied. Its hull seems to absorb all sensor waves. Its energy core is hidden. It could carry weapons beyond our understanding, or none at all." Sharn said nothing. Then a second voice spoke his. "Science Officer, Vale Corin. Admiral, we must consider the purpose of this ship. It hasn't attacked us. Hasn't made demands. It simply came here and showed itself." Sharn turned to her. "So what do you suggest?" "It's a signal," Vale said. "Not a threat. A warning." Sharn frowned. He was a war leader. He believed in action, but this was new territory. Earth had been a mystery to them. Now that mystery had shown its face and it was more powerful than expected, he finally spoke. "If Earth built this ship without our knowledge, then we've underestimated them greatly." Inside the Vanguard, the crew remained steady. Lights glowed gently along the walls. The ship made no sound, no movement. It didn't need to. Commander Reyes stood on the command deck, watching the alien fleet through a large front display. "They're still holding," reported her comes officer. "No weapon charges, no movement toward us." Reyes nodded. "We're not here to scare them. We're here to show them we are not weak." She walked slowly across the deck, thinking aloud. For so long, humanity stayed silent. We watched other civilizations fight across the stars. We stayed out of galactic matters. They thought we were simple. They were wrong. She turned back to her team. "Vanguard is not just a ship. It's the proof that we're ready, that we've learned, that we remember Mars and what it taught us." A soft voice responded. It was Vanguard's AI, calm and clear. "Message from Lunar Command. Stand by. Await next contact from the Zelthari flagship." Reyes gave a small smile.
"Oh, they're thinking."
"Let them far out in space, Admiral." Sharn stood once again at the viewing window. The strange black ship remained, as if waiting. His pride as a commander urged him to attack, to prove the strength of the Zelthari, But his experience reminded him, not every battle is won by fire. He turned to Vale. What do we know about Earth's military history? She brought up a small holographic file. Many internal wars. But over time, they grew. They learned. By the 22nd century, war became rare. Their focus turned to space, technology, and survival. Sharn watched the ship again. So, ... They built peace through strength. Yes, she answered. In Vanguard is their message to us. We are not here to conquer, but we will not be conquered. And so, across the cold dark of space, two forces stared at each other in silence. One side, bold and growing. The other, ancient and proud. But something had shifted. In just a single meeting, the galaxy had changed. For the first time, Zelthari realized the truth. Humanity had arrived, and it was ready. The silence in space was thick like fog. The Zelthari fleet drifted just outside Neptune's orbit, their ships aligned but unmoving. No orders to attack, no shots fired, only the steady, quiet presence of the human warship Vanguard waiting, like a shadow between stars. On the bridge of the Radiance of Purpose, Admiral Sharn Valker paced slowly. Mind raced with thoughts he hadn't dared to consider before. The humans had made their message clear. Leave now. What if they didn't? A status report. Sharn barked, breaking the heavy silence. The tactical officer glanced nervously at the console. All ships ready, Admiral. Weapons systems online. Shields at full power. No movement from Vanguard. Sharn narrowed his eyes. Then fire a warning. Shot. Nothing lethal. Just enough to show we are serious. The order was given. A single plasma beam was launched from a nearby frigate, aimed carefully at the Vanguard's hull. The beam streaked across the darkness. A bright line of energy. It struck the Vanguard's surface, and nothing happened. No explosion, no flash, no damage. The beam seemed to vanish, as if absorbed or redirected. The bridge fell silent again. Inside the Vanguard, the ship remained steady. The faint hum of the engines was the only sound. On the tactical display, a pulse of energy moved out. Smoothly a controlled wave of force, but no weapons fired. On the command deck, Commander Mira Reyes watched the alien probes attack with calm eyes. That was expected, she said softly. Vanguard's shields can absorb and neutralize that kind of energy. We're designed for this. Her AI assistant spoke in its clear, emotionless voice. Incoming signal from Zelthari fleet. What is your purpose? Why do you not respond to our challenge? Reyes nodded. Prepare a reply, simple and firm. Tapped the console, then watched as the message sent. We defend our home. We ask for peace. Do not force us to protect it with war. On the Zelthari flagship, the message echoed through the speakers. Admiral Sharn listened carefully. His officers looked to him for guidance. One of them, the science officer Vale Corrin, stepped forward. Admiral, this response is unlike any we've encountered. They do not threaten, but they do not back down. It's clear their technology surpasses ours in some ways. Sharn looked around the room, weighing his options. His pride told him to attack, but his years of command told him caution. Prepare. The fleet for retreat orders? Sharn said quietly. We will leave this system for now. His voice surprised even himself. But not everyone agreed. A younger captain, eager and hot-headed, spoke up. Admiral, if we retreat now, other races will think we are weak. We should show strength. Sharn looked at him sharply and risked destruction. No, we will live to fight another day. This is strategy, not surrender. The captain clenched his fists, but remained silent, as the Zelthari ships began to move away slowly. Gah. Commander Reyes and her crew monitored their retreat. We held our ground, she said with quiet satisfaction. No shots fired from us, no lives lost. Her second-in-command smiled. They've learned respect, Reyes nodded. Yes, but we must remain vigilant. This is only the beginning. Far across the galaxy, news of the standoff spread quickly in the councils of many alien worlds. Leaders whispered about Earth's power. Stories were hard to believe, one human ship stopping a great fleet without firing a single weapon. They called it the Vanguard Protocol, the art of defending. With strength and restraint, many wondered what other secrets humanity held. Back on Earth, in the quiet command center, Mira Rhea stood before a large window. Looking up at the stars, the galaxy had changed forever. But Earth still had much to learn, much to prepare, because out there, among the stars, there were others watching, others waiting, others who would soon discover the true meaning of humanity. The Zelthari Armada slowly withdrew, their ships fading into the darkness beyond Neptune's orbit. The silence they left behind was almost as loud as their arrival. The galaxy had witnessed something new, a force it could not ignore. On the bridge of the Vanguard, Commander Mira Reyes allowed herself a brief moment of relief. Her crew worked quietly, their faces still serious, knowing this was only the first of many challenges ahead. "Status report," she ordered. "All systems." "Normal, Commander?" replied the communications officer. "The Zelthari fleet is retreating. No signs of immediate pursuit." Myra nodded. "Good, but this is just the start. We must be ready for whatever comes next." Across Earth and its colonies, the news of the encounter spread quickly, though details were tightly controlled. The world was united in a new purpose, shared. Understanding that humanity's place in the stars was no longer a dream, but a reality. Scientists, engineers, and leaders worked faster than ever. The Vanguard was just the beginning. New ships, new technologies, and new alliances were being developed with one goal: to protect Earth and the humans who called it home in the Zelthari fleet. Admiral Sharn Valker faced his council. The decision to retreat had not been easy, and some among his people called him weak. But Sharn stood firm. "We met a force unlike any before. We were shown that strength does not always roar. Sometimes it stands quietly, ready." He looked at the council, his voice calm but determined. "We must learn from this. To attack without understanding is to invite defeat." The council was silent for a moment. Then one elder spoke. "Perhaps humanity will change the balance of power in the galaxy." Sharn nodded. "Perhaps we must be prepared." Back on Earth, Commander Rhea stood on the observation deck of the lunar base. Looking up at the stars she had once only dreamed of reaching. The universe was vast and filled with unknowns, but humanity was ready. She thought of the people who had come before the pioneers on Mars, who had built hope from dust. The engineers who designed the Vanguard, and the countless others who believed that Earth deserved to be more than a quiet blue. "We are not just survivors," she whispered. "We are the future." Suddenly, the ship's AI alerted her. "A incoming transmission from unknown source. Decoding now." Myra's eyes sharpened. This was new. The message was simple but clear. "We see you, Earth. We watch. We respect your strength. The galaxy awaits your next move." Her lips curved into a small smile. The stars were calling, and humanity was ready to answer.